is going on, guys? How y'all doing all tonight? This is the Club with the Man 1993, and we are here live for my live review of this past week's episode of AEW Dynamite, the January 19th, 2022 edition of Dynamite that took place in the nation's capital of Washington D.C. Next week, well, this coming week, now actually it's Sunday night, but this coming week is AEW's Beach Break special happening. I think this show did a very good job setting up for that show, as we definitely have a pretty stacked card for this coming week's show. And I think this show did a great job setting that up. I also really like this show solely because it had the return of Jon Moxley and an excellent promo from Cody Rhodes as he returned after being done as well. So yeah, we're gonna roll into this again. It was a pretty good episode, and also definitely has a lot of stuff for Revolution, which is coming up in about a month, I'd say, hyping up as well. So I love this episode. I'm very intrigued by Beach Break this coming week. We have two matches. I remember off the top of my head right now. Pretty sure I'll remember the other one. Whatever it is, okay. But yes, it was a good show, and I could say that the show was good. I am a little hesitant right now because I installed an operating system update on my Mac yesterday, and my computer is still trying to get used to this. So if something happens, things glitch on me, I do apologize, guys. But we'll roll into this just a second, just scrolling down here and see what we can find. Alright, so first, before we always get started, let's check the live chat, because you guys give up your time, those of you who do give their time to, check me out and see what's going on in the life of the man. So we got Tyler. What's up, Tyler? He says hello. He gave the show a B. JR says, do you think Johnny Gargano's going to come to All Elite Wrestling? I'm hoping he is. A lot of people think he's going to show. I've heard a lot of people, I haven't read too many rumblings. There's been a lot of people who think he's going to show up at Beach Break next week in the Lights Out match with Adam Cole and Orange Cassidy. If he does, cool. I still think, though, with how close he is, how close him and Candice are to the birth of their first child, I think that I could still see Johnny, if he is going to come back to wrestling, still taking a little bit of time off, at least till after the baby is born. But if he shows up, cool. That's just the vibe I got, though, that he's looking to focus on becoming a father first right now. But if he shows up, awesome. Let me see here. Tyler says Orton winning the 2017 Rumble was the wrong move 5 years ago. Yeah, I still didn't get that one. They tried to turn a mid-card feud between Orton and Wyatt into a main event, which, honestly, it could have worked. The problem, though, was, of course, is the fact that they should have turned Bray face and not Orton back to being face. That was definitely a weird Rumble. And also, it's a Rumble where they trolled us with Roman Reigns being number 30. I still remember how disgusting it was at that. Welcome back, Moxley, for sure. Contracts are expiring right in All Elite Wrestling. Add to the roster, like once the superstars leave, are going to ask new people, like free agents, to the roster. Yeah, there has been some rumblings of some changes being made to the AEW roster, which we could see happening. One of them, and also, he says Orton needs a heel turn. Oh, definitely. I'll always say Randy Orton needs to be a heel. But we'll get into that another time. Before we get into this, though, let me, first, before we get started, I want to address something I found out this weekend about someone that I know some people were curious. I was curious as well, thinking, where the heck has he been? And that's Lio Rush. You notice after they split him and Dante Martin up, and after that segment where he made him and Dante kind of stood each other down on the ramp, we hadn't seen Lio for a while. Well, apparently, Lio spoke out on Instagram and said that on Valentine's Day this year, February 14th, his contract with AEW is expiring. And I guess he says that he's more looking to be more of like a freelancer or something like that. Yeah. I hope Leo's okay. I don't know, because I listened to his interview on Talk is Jericho from a few months ago. And like he definitely was telling like he was really trying to like find himself. Like he's literally been like bouncing all over the place ever since he got released by WWE in April of 2020. And to me, it feels like he either is changing his mind about wrestling or retiring, or he basically I don't know. He seems to be changing things up a lot. So I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I just don't know what quite's going on with Lio Rush. I don't know if he still wants to wrestle, if he still wants to, if he still wants to focus on music or what he's doing. But I'm starting to really wonder if there's something else going on with him. I mean, if he's fine, cool. He just wants there to change, cool. But it feels like he's been making a lot of changes. Like he's bouncing back and forth a lot. But I'm not sure. But that's apparently like what's going on with Lio Rush. He's leaving and he wants to focus on more so being a freelancer. Okay. Hope it works out for him, but definitely a little bummed because again, he definitely had a lot of good matches he could have had for sure in AEW. But I guess this is not where he wants to be, so he's moving on to other things. Let's talk about this show. We opened up with the return of Jon Moxley, who is back after 3 months, I think it was, since he checked himself into alcohol rehab. So he comes out to Wild Things. Listen, I'm going to keep saying this. I like the Wild Things song. I still kind of miss Unscripted Violence. I still like that song a little bit more than Wild Things. I don't know why. I still enjoyed it more. But he comes out, looks great. I mean, he definitely looks a lot better than he did before he left. He gets into the ring with a big applause, and then he goes to start talking, and then the crowd just went silent because they wanted to hear what he had to say. Which, honestly, I don't blame them, because Jon Moxley, to me, if there's ever been like an honest man, like someone that just really is like been showing me the past 3 years, is very open, very honest, a guy who just like he wants to get the job done right, someone who I think to me is just, how do I say it right? I'm not trying to sound like he's some type of like a god, but he's just like, he's sending a good message, I feel, the past 3 years. But because of that, I feel like, no wonder that people are going to want to give him, their complete attention when he comes out to speak on the microphone. But he comes out, and he starts talking until a fan starts shouting something at him, and basically boxes this piss right. He says, "Hey, screw yourself and get out of here," because the fan basically was like talking rubbish to him. But he says how a little while ago he fell asleep on a plane and woke up from a bad dream when they landed. He was on the side of the road, on his hands and knees in the dirt, all bruised up, with clouds hanging over him like a demon. And the one that follows you around your whole life. And tells him that none of the good things in his life were supposed to happen. He asked if he really thought he was going to make it out. But he woke up, he had a chance to answer. And nobody gets through life unscathed. He's got more scars than the average person. But the important ones are the ones inside harder to see. Sometimes we try to cover them up and pretend they're not there, but those are the ones we should be proud of, that tell our story and make us who we are. No one's perfect, and no matter who you are, you shouldn't be afraid to stand up in front of the whole world and bear who you are and say, hey, this is me. So he's sure there are plenty of people that want to write him off, who doubt him, and it won't be the first, and it also will not be the last. If you doubt him, say whatever you want. He'll tell you the same thing he told that demon. Shove it up your ass. He doesn't run from demons, he just beats the crap out of them. And for everybody in this building and around the world that has had his back, supported him through thick and thin, thank you. Just simply a little thank you. Buckle up though, because 2022, we're going to be in for quite a ride. He's going to grab pro wrestling by the balls, and he's going to do what he wants, because now more than anyone in this business, he is free. And if anybody in AEW around the world thinks he can put him through more hell than he's been through, but just know this though, he is thirsty. And if he thought he was dangerous before, now all he drinks is blood, and to slam his microphone down with authority. Excellent promo by Moxley. I want to do a separate video sometime this week. I don't think it's going to be live. It's basically going to be me talking about... Personally, you look at Jon Moxley the past 3 years. Like, especially, like, from the time he left WWE. You know, it felt like, you think back to when he was WWE. You go back to, like, 2016. Where I feel like he started to go a little bit on a downfall after he won the world title, because that's when he had that dreadful Stone Cold podcast interview that just didn't go over well at all, and a lot of people started to they still like Mox, but it seemed like he started getting flat, and then of course they brought the Shield back together. Then he got injured for 9 months. And then he came back, and then and that's when he had the mindset like, okay, I'm going to see how this goes. If things don't change though by spring when my contract expires, I'm out of here. And he basically just without trying to pull any strings or piss anyone else off, he just was as professional as he could, finished his contract, and then he left, and he basically went off and did his own thing. But he sent the message where it's like, he just wanted to have fun. He wanted to enjoy wrestling, and he didn't care about the money. But, along the way, too, he became a father. And apparently he, had a problem between him and alcohol. And nobody told him to. He checked into rehab himself. And, the demons he has to face, as far as making himself a better person, a person that he can love himself. To me, how could you hate someone for doing that? How could you hate someone for just trying to better themselves? Whether it's leave a job you've been at for a while that you knew your ship had sailed, and you had basically exhausted all your options with, and then, even when you're starting to get things better, and you still realize you have a problem, you go and get the help. How could you not hate someone? How could you hate someone like that? My point saying though is, to me, this promo, stamped Jon Moxley to me, not just as one of my favorite wrestlers, not just as a great human being, not just as a role model. To me, Jon Moxley became a hero to me. With the message he has put in the past 3 years, he's faced his demons. There could be more for all we know. Who knows? But Jon Moxley has proven he's somebody who's not afraid to better himself, no matter, what position he's in life. I feel like his story has really turned into an inspiration. He's someone that just to me just really stands out because of the message he has sent with what he's done for the past few years. I want to go into this more in a separate video, but this is an outstanding promo. This is a great way for Mox to come back. Again, he looks great. I'm hoping he continues to, just kick some ass. It looks like they're setting up a match with him and Bryan Danielson at Revolution, which I'm pretty sure they were originally going to do that match at Full Gear until Moxley stepped away for a bit. But, because again, I want to go to his board, but the stuff where Bully Ray says he should be apologizing to the fans. Apologizing for what? Literally, apologizing for what? For just trying to make yourself a better human being? For voluntarily, checking into rehab yourself? He made the decision. Nobody else was holding him hostage and forcing him to do so. I mean, maybe there were some more options we know, but the guy checked him in himself. He checked him in himself, and he allowed Tony Khan to personally, reveal it to the fans. To me, he took care of the fans. He allowed, again, it really was none of their business. It really was none of their business. Who else would have had talked about Jon Moxley and alcohol problems before? But the example that he's set, I personally believe Jon Moxley is a hero. And that's my opinion. But that's how the show started off with his return promo, which was awesome. Then we get in promo with MJF on talking about CM Punk, saying how he should have taken his early onset spinal stenosis and given up and lost a match to Wardlow last week. But then he gives Wardlow an apology as an early birthday present, but he will dock his pay, and he promises that the money will keep flowing back in once he gets back on track. Now, for Shawn Spears, though, he will show the world, and Wardlow, he claims, how to get the job done. And MJF will be right there on commentary. Adam Cole and Britt Baker then had their mixed tag match against Chris Statlander and Orange Cassidy. Awesome match. Awesome match for sure. The stare down moments, of course, was with the intergender, spots were pretty probably the best parts of this match for sure. Orange Cassidy doing his, mojo on Britt. Cole kicked out of a beach break, I remember. Orange Cassidy kicked out of a Panama Sunrise. There's a lot of good near falls in this match. But of course, the ending, which I think is what is really set up for next week's Lights Out match between Cole and Cassidy, was when Britt was on the apron, barking out orders. Orange stopped short, and then manages to shoulder block Britt Baker, by accident, of course, off the apron, and she fell through the table. Which, obviously, you don't want to mess with a man's woman. As Adam Cole did not take too lightly to this. He got Cassidy down, and then he went for a, one second. And he set him up for the boom, and he took out Orange Cassidy to get the victory. And of course, like I said, it's going to set up for probably, of course, because it's unsanctioned match, a lights out match at Beach Break next week, which will be an awesome match for sure. I'm looking forward to it. So we have that. Then we have Chris Jericho, Santana, and Ortiz backstage. How Jericho doesn't care about Eddie Kingston, but 2.0 and Daniel Garcia. Santana and Ortiz cut him off and say Jericho might not care about Eddie, but they do. And maybe he's got a point about Y2J being why they don't have the tag titles. And maybe next week they'll focus on themselves. And they leave Jericho to himself. Which I'm not sure if this match is still going to happen with Jericho and Kingston at Revolution. Because apparently Eddie Kingston got a broken orbital bone, I think. I heard. Which is not good. Adam Cole then, has a promo basically setting up his matches to Orange Cassidy. And then we have CM Punk and Shawn Spears. Again, MJF just hyping up Shawn Spears, basically being the guy to be the big thorn in CM Punk's side. Nope! Bell rings. Punk put Spears in a fireman's carry immediately, hit the GTS, and just like that, match is over. So MJF was just in shock. He tried to blindside PG Punk, as he calls him, but then Punk gets caught by his scarf, and then MJF gets away, but Punk puts the scarf on, I think it was, which is pretty funny. Then backstage we have a confrontation with Christian Cage and Billy Gunn, who says, and then they just cut the promo on him, and then they attack Christian Cage and throw him into a loading dock door, and says that's their statement. Speaking of a statement, we then have another return promo. Another dark one. I mean, Moxley's was great. This may have been a promo of the year, though, right here. Here comes Cody Rhodes, who was gone for a couple weeks, saying he wasn't medically cleared. So now him and Sammy Guevara have a unification match, as Sammy Guevara is the interim TNT champion. Cody Rhodes is the real TNT champion. They're having a ladder match next week, also at Beach Break. Ooh. So, we get ready for the match. We're having this promo. Cody asks the crowd what they want to talk about. He's reminded, though, of a man who sat on a stage, looking at a ring, and gave one of the most important addresses in the history of our sport. That, of course, is CM Punk's pipe bomb, which he referred to as CM Punk's pipe bomb. He was told to save this promo, but he doesn't want a chance. He doesn't know if he'll get the chance, so he's going to just say it all now. Punk laid out a roadmap for Revolution. Things like going to New Japan, working Ring of Honor, and also teaming with the Young Bucks. As destiny would have it, he was unable to do those things. But eventually he'd wind up here in the comeback of the year, and honestly, the comeback of the decade. We're all living it and loving it. In his absence, in the void Punk left behind, somebody did each of those things. And that's himself, Cody Rhodes. He carried every ounce of empty monopoly sentiment on his shoulders, held every grain of revolution in his hand, and we all jeered. And why won't he be a heel? He flat out said that. Why I won't be a heel? Because we cheered him when he needed us most. People talk about the forbidden door, and if you're an industry journalist who disagrees with anything he says, check the date. Check the dates. He built that forbidden door. He doesn't need to see the Bucks wrestle Red Dragon again. And then his real life friend Ricky Starks started a thing with Jay Lethal. He also makes some line about how, Red Dragon already graduated developmental or something. That's the Young Bucks want to do that instead. Basically implying that Young Bucks didn't need to go to NXT to make their name for themselves like Red Dragon did, basically, is what he said. Which was a good shot there. The lethal injection is the one cutter nobody kicks out of. Avoid, avoid, avoid. And then there's Malachi Black, who's beaten Cody twice, and everybody knows that Cody hates to lose. He needed no help, but added insult to injury by bringing in an agile giant like Brody King. And it says something about, you don't want to be someone named Brody, and make some reference to Brody Lee's, Mr. Brody Lee's son, Brody Jr., and basically saying how in 8 years, basically referring to he's going to be a wrestler, of course, someday. And he also used the line, they don't rename people like Gunnar McGillibuddy or whatever, referring to Walter's name change on NXT. Oh, that was priceless there. Which brings him to Brody Lee, Darby Allin, Miro, Sammy Guevara, the TNT champions past. We've all been conditioned to think that any title that doesn't have world in the name is secondary. But they don't believe in secondary belts. The only reason why it might be is because there's two of them. It's clear what they do. And he knows that Tony Khan has sent him and Sammy Guevara contracts in the mail. And maybe it's not the contract he wants right now, but next week, 2 titles, 1 champion. What do you say, Sammy Guevara? Ah, that was good. Oh, that was so good. Again, people are saying that Cody Rhodes, Cody Rhodes is still playing this role where he believes he's a babyface. He keeps saying, like, I'm, in interviews, and even, of course, like, right here, he's saying, I won't turn heel. I won't become a heel because of what I started. But, again, he's getting the reactions, so you know what he's saying. He has to say what he says. He's firing the shots at, at what's it called? At WWE. He's just firing the shots, and he's teasing us and playing us like a fiddle over whether he's a heel or a babyface. Except this time it's actually going to go somewhere. So I really enjoyed that promo. Basically saying in the whole, hey, I did this. I did this. That's going to generate good heel heat. I did this. I did this. Which is what he needed to do. So I love that promo. We also have Jade Cargill having a backstage promo with an interview about the TBS title. She's going to defend it against Anna Jay, which she did this past Friday on Rampage. And then we have Kings of the Black Throne, Malachi Black and Brody King, who defeating the Varsity Blondes in a tag match. I thought it's tough now because I thought at first Malachi Black would be developing more of a bigger stable. But I guess they're keeping just him and Brody King as just a tag team for now. So I guess maybe they're doing the tag titles on them first before they give Malachi singles title. Maybe, I don't know. We'll see. But I love that. But there was an interview where he was interrupted by Pac, and they seem to be setting up a match with Pac and Malachi Black, which could be good. Jake Snake Roberts has a promo with Lance Archer and Dan Lambert at his side. How Jake questions Hangman Adam Page's credentials as a cowboy, and Page has a chance to respond. Roberts says it's time for Page to bite the dust. And we have like a little beatdown with them later after Lance Archer defeats Frankie Kazarian, and then of course we have the thing with Hangman and Lance Archer, which will be a fine match when it happens. We have Dante Martin, Lee Moriarty, and Matt Sydal backstage. Martin says he's got their backs against Team Taz, and Lee says they'll do the same for him until Darius returns. Ricky Starks and Will Hobbs will have a promo say that Dante has a baby brother complex. He thinks everybody's his friend, but he's going to find out he's all alone. Hobbs tells him to watch all sides because Team Taz are considered assassins. We also have a segment with Chris Statlander and Red Velvet being interviewed, and then a fight broke out with Layla Hirsch because I guess they're set up some type of a feud with Layla Hirsch. I think it's happening next week. Layla Hirsch and Chris Statlander at Beach Break, which one second. They're going to have that match next week at Beach Break, which should be good because Layla Hirsch is now pretty much a heel. Serena Deeb then completely squashes Sky Blue in this crazy, thing she's having. And then they have a match instead with Jon Moxley and All Ego Ethan Page for Rampage. We also have Andrade El Idolo and Matt Hardy agreeing to like a deal to co-own the Hardy family office, I guess. And then decent main event with Darby Allin and Sting defeating the Acclaimed. I'm guessing they may be doing like a tag match at Revolution between Darby Allin, Sting, and Darby Allin and Sting taking on Jurassic Express for the tag titles at Revolution. I dig it. Be pretty awesome, but that's the show. My friend's waiting for me to actually play Mario Party, so I'm going to get off here in a second, but good episode of Dynamite. I'm very intrigued for Beach Break next week, especially, again, Chris Statlander, Layla Hirsch is going to be awesome. definitely that ladder match for the TNT title with Cody Rhodes and Sam Guevara. And the lights out match, of course, with Adam Cole and Orange Cassidy will be awesome also. Live chat really quick. Brian Cage will be fitting in WWE. Do you think he would go to WWE ever? That is one of the contracts that artists. I think he might. I mean, again, AEW, only has so much room. I feel like there just really isn't a spot for Brian Cage right now. At this point, though, whatever he goes to WWE, who knows? And let's get a couple other things that we've gone over before already. But I'm going to cut it here, guys. Again, I'm sorry, but my friend's waiting for me, so I'm going to go play Mario Party now. But yeah, for this week, though, really quick, no Rumble preview predictions. The only things I'm going to guarantee is that Jon Moxley video. I definitely wanted to do the Rumble recap and review from the Women's Rumble last year and the Men's Rumble last year. That's all I'm guaranteeing right now, because I visited my girlfriend at one point this week. Thursday, either Tuesday or Wednesday. Thursday, my friend's coming over to visit. Friday, I went to the Penguins game. Saturday's the Rumble pay-per-view, and then stay with my girlfriend Saturday, and Sunday I'll be at hers all day. So, only content is going to happen as the beginning of the week. So tomorrow my goal is to do the Rumble recap and reviews from last year. But that'll be that. But guys, I'll check it out. I gave Dynamite an A- this week, especially because of those two promos. What are your thoughts on Dynamite for this week? Your thoughts down in the comment section below. Be sure as always to slap a like on the video, subscribe for more content on my channel, and follow me on Twitter at DemandAirborne93. Till then, guys, I'll check it out. I'll catch y'all later. Have a great rest of your night. My friend's calling me, and I gotta get going. Peace out, everybody.